Hello, welcome back to the channel. So light cones, I think, are in like a pretty weird place in the game right now because they might feel both restrictive, but also not at the same time. And I feel like that is for a couple of reasons. One is that some of the paths have like way better options for 4-star light cones than other ones do. Like Erudition, I would say, has like pretty decent options, but something like Hunt has like swordplay, and that's kind of it. Like, even then, like, there aren't that many like 4-star light cones that I would really call like that good. Most of them are either just like straight up bad or just really like mediocre. Something like We Will Meet Again just makes no sense. Like, and the fact that it's a battle pass light cone makes it even worse. It's like, why did they make this? I don't understand. Or something like Nowhere to Run, which is, it's like fine, but it's just kind of like, why would you use it over like anything else, you know? On top of that, the ones that like are good are only really like that good if you have them at S5. Like, the difference between them at S1 and S5 is like huge. Like Resolution or like Secret Vow, like they're like okay at like S1, but they only become like at least equivalent to a lot of signatures once you get them to S5. That's not to say like you can't make 4-star light cones work. You definitely can. It's just like the power disparity between a lot of them is way too big, and I do think a lot of the 4-star light cones are just really outdated or just don't really have any synergy with existing characters and could really use some sort of like changes. Now, obviously, I would rather them, buff the actual characters first before doing anything like that. But even just adding more of them would help a lot, because I believe like the last time we got more light cones, at least for 4-star light cones, was in 3.0. Because paths like Remembrance really need more options, because the only real like DPS options for Remembrance is like the Battle Pass light cone and Genius Greeting, which is only really good for like a Goliath. Even just besides the 4-star light cones, you do another option people have is the Herda Shop light cones, which I would say most of them are pretty good. Like some of them, like like Fall of an Eon is good on like Firefly, Curtain Never Falls is pretty good as well, and Stellar Sea is also pretty good on a lot of Hunt characters. And there's something like a Terran Calculus, which I don't think can be good in something like Pure Fiction, but I would say it's definitely not like the best of them. Solitary Healing is like okay, but even then, for a lot of dot characters, there's just way better options. And the only one that I would really say is like just kind of not that great is Texture of Memories, because it's only really good on like Fushuan, and that's kind of it. Like, and it's like, if you don't have Fushuan, there's like no point of using it. I mean, it probably could be better if we had more preservation characters, but we just don't, so there's just no reason to use it. Like, overall, most of them are pretty good, but that's kind of the thing. You can only get one of them, so like that still doesn't really solve the problem of not feeling like you don't really have many options, because you get like more than one Hunt character or something. You can't put Stellar Sea on both of them, But like, even then, the weird thing to me is that not all of the paths have a Herda Shop light cone. Like, Abundance and Harmony don't have one yet, which, like, to be fair, Harmony already has Dance Dance Dance, which like is probably the best light cone in the game. But still, like, I feel like every path should have one, I am writing this before the 3.4 live stream comes out, so like, who knows, maybe they'll announce it in that live stream, but I kind of doubt it. I do think this kind of leads me into, like, I think the main problem with light cones right now is that they feel very limited in what you can use. Like, take, Cypher, for example. Her best options are kind of just like her signature or resolution, and that's kind of it. Like yeah, sure, you can use the I forget what it's called, but the Silver Wolf one. But like, let me be honest, that's just not good. Like, like a big problem for a lot of the recent characters is just like the difference between having their signature light cone and not is way too big. Like, obviously their signature light cone should be their best one because it's made for them. But the gap shouldn't be like as big as it is right now, Like, any other option shouldn't just feel insanely mediocre compared to it, Like, Caster's has basically no good Remembrance options besides her signature and the Battle Pass one, which, not everyone is gonna, get the Battle Pass. Now, it isn't like as bad for Caster, since she just has high HP from another path, but the options shouldn't be so limited that you need to do that, Because you're basically just not having an effect, which would make her like way worse than she could be. And even then, it's also like, locking behind like specific like effects that a lot of characters will be way better behind the light cones. Like, I'll just use Cypher as an example again. Like, her with her light cone is way better with Acheron than her not, because she can actually apply a debuff every single turn. That just kind of just feels like paywalling, Now, what do I think can be done to make light cones feel better to use? Well, one, I think is just make more 4-star light cone options. We really just need more, like especially for like paths like Remembrance, but there are other paths that really need them, like Nihility and Abundance. Two, add more light cones to the light cone shop for like Forgotten Hollow and all that stuff. This is kind of insane to me. In 2.0, we got 7 light cones added to that shop. Now, not all of them were that great, but at least it's more options, and they're like way easier to get at S5 than some of the ones you need to like pull for. But in 3.0, it got 1, which is the Victory light cone, which you already get for doing the story, which just makes it even worse. Like, yeah, I guess you can get it at S5, but even then, most of the characters who would want to use that, the Herta shop light cone is also just kind of just better. That's not to say it's a bad option at all, but it's just kind of insulting. You can even add some of the like already existing 4-star light cones to it, like maybe like Under the Blue Sky or like Dreams Montage, like all of the ones that aren't like like sort of like 4-star signatures, like the one for like Arlen or like Hook and that sort of thing, like literally anything, because a lot of the options in the shop kind of suck. Like I don't think I've seen anyone ever use them. We got 3. Add more light cones to the Herta shop. They've already been doing a bunch of stuff for Divergent Universe and that kind of thing. Why not add more light cones alongside of that? Even like 4 paths that already have them, since the paths have kind of expanded so much now that I think that you could make another one for the same path and make it different enough. But I would mainly like to see ones for paths that don't have it, like Harmony or Abundance, especially Harmony, since knowing that path, it would probably be insanely broken. Then the last thing is rework some of the older light cones, because some of them are like insanely redundant and just kind of feel like they just ran out of time, so they just copy and pasted some of them. Like as an example, Under the Blue Sky and Genius Repose do almost the exact same thing, except like one is for destruction and the other is for erudition, which makes Genius Repose way better. But also, one of them gives crit rate and the other gives crit damage. What is the point of having 2 light cones that do almost the exact same thing? Like, they even give the exact same amount of attack. It really just feels like they copy and pasted one of them, but then they were like, oh shit, we gotta change it, so they just changed just it to crit damage and then put it in a different path. Like, it feels so lazy. But even besides that, a lot of them feel like they could be good, but just have certain things about them that make them just not very good. Like, We Are Wildfire, for example, I feel like could be pretty great. Like it's not the worst one right now, but it could definitely be a lot better if it wasn't a sort of combat effect, because most of the time you're just never going to really get the heal effect if you're doing like endgame content or something. Like maybe if it was like whenever you use their ultimate and then they just like maybe nerfed how much healing it gave or something, I feel like it could be a pretty good option for a lot of characters. Now, like I said, I would rather them buff the characters first, but I feel like they could do this alongside that, since light cones are like way less technical than characters are. Do I expect that? I'll be honest, probably not. At least give us more of them, I feel like that's like the bare minimum. At the end of the day, like, light cones are a really important part of making characters good. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much relics and light cones matter for your characters, because they feel like all the problems that some people do have with beating in-game content, it's just that their builds just suck. So it's like, having a lot of the sort of like free options be just kind of mediocre does feel like pretty bad to me. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys think the light cones are fine? Do you not? Let me know. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.